my friends. Brenda L. Balding here. The L stands for Love's Inner Voice, the path of self-discovery. And that's where we are in life. And today we're going to be dismantling shame with compassion. And I know shame can make some of us a little twitchy and a little upset. So let's start with our heart breathing. Those of you that have been with me, please go ahead. Those of you that are new, let's walk through it. Heart breathing, breathe in to the count of 4. Imagine it going through your heart, into your lungs, down to your core. Hold it there for the count of 3 or 4, and then breathe out. And what you're doing is you're breathing in light and love of the divine, whatever that is for you, and you're breathing out into the divine's hands anything that you're ready to release now. So let's start with some beautiful music. Breathe in, hold it, and let go. Breathe in light and love. And let go of anything you're ready to release. Let's do that 2 more times. Notice how your body feels and how your mind quiets when you do this. Now I'd like to share a little commercial about an upcoming show. Hello, my friends. Brenda L. Balding here. The L stands for my TV show, Love's Inner Voice, the path of self-discovery. And a guest that I'm going to have in the near future is Emily Thoreau Threat, a beautiful lady from Hawaii. And we're talking about grief, navigating your journey to happiness, and different ways of writing that might help you. So please join us 4 p.m. on Thursday afternoon, Pacific time. Every Thursday, a new show. Please join us. Blessings, and continue to have a blessed day. Bye for now. Yes, Emily is a wonderful person, and I have a wonderful person to share with you today. Her name is Brandy Benton, and we're going to be talking about dismantling shame with compassion, healing in progress. Brandy is a coach that helps women get to the source of their emotional wounds and permanently release them using powerful mind-body tools. Her passion for helping people unlock their full potential has taken her from a successful corporate career into individual practice. After training hundreds of people in communication skills, conflict management, and emotional intelligence, yay, she's developed a set of proven, efficient techniques. Her one-on-one coaching sessions and group courses synthesize these techniques in down-to-earth, accessible ways. And that's true, because I did take one of her courses and I loved doing that and learning from her. She made it so wonderful. If you're interested in connecting to your true authentic self, her website, which we'll share later, is healmorelove.com. Brandy holds a master's degree of science in organizational development, and I have organizational development masters too. How fun is that? And certifications in subtle body work. Her modalities include parts work, emotional freedom technique or tapping, and somatic trauma processing. Her goal is to help people heal and connect to their true, authentic self. Oh, Brandy, it is so wonderful to have you with me today. Please welcome Brandy.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you so much for having me on.
you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Tell us a little bit about your personal experience with shame and what is it that brought up shame? Because when I saw your newsletter a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it was on shame, and that reminded me that you might be interested in being here with us. And you were so surprised when I asked you to join us, and we thought shame was the perfect thing. So, talk a little bit more about that and why dismantling.
Yeah, I kind of love that shame is the entry point, for me being here and talking because it's not really something that I address very often when I'm doing coaching work or even in my programs. But for me, it has become such a essential part of getting closer to who I truly am, really doing that deeper work. And the truth is, I started off with so much shame around just being who I was, just experiencing my emotions and showing up how I am in the world. And so, for me, it was like, if I'm going to get to who I really am, if I'm going to be able to be in my authenticity, I have to dismantle all of the shame around just existing, just being human and having emotions. And so I thought it was kind of funny that that was the thing that you had connected to because it's almost been a personal journey that I haven't really shared with anyone, right? It was just this thing where it's like, okay, this is what's going in the background of my healing. This is what I needed. But when it comes, I don't really use that as a focus point. But ultimately, it is the thing that I see when I'm working with clients and they're struggling with that ability to just honestly fully express their emotions and who they are. And so often, what I see is that they'll come into a session, they'll have been triggered by something, and then they're more upset by the fact that they got triggered and they got emotional and they were irate or angry or snappy or rude or they cried. Those things actually end up being a bigger issue for them than the original thing that actually got them upset. So that was that's been my like aha moment of like, oh, this isn't just me. Like I'm not the person with the deep dark secret that has had the shame my whole life of who I am and I'm just living with it by myself. That's kind of been my aha of like, oh, we're all struggling just being human and having emotions and expressing ourselves. Um, but for me, really, the idea of shame didn't really come on my radar as a concept until Brene Brown showed up with her huge TED talk of, shame and what it means to live a fully like heart-based life versus one of shame. And then that's when I was like, oh, this is a thing. That's the thing that I've been
It is a
feeling
thing.
since I was
Yeah.
a kid. And I don't know if you can relate to that, Brenda, but I mean, I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and stealing some coins from my mom to get ice cream from the ice cream man and being like deeply ashamed. Not kind of like, oh, that was a bad thing, but like, oh, I'm one of those people that steals, right? Like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. And my mom just being like, oh, no big deal. Like you wanted ice cream, take the money. But like I just like I held that in my heart like as this little seed of like, oh wow, what other bad things could I end up doing? Who am I? What's awaits, like and And I just felt that from such an early age. And I never shared it with people, but I just walked around all the time with this sense of like, I think there's something deeply wrong with me. And I think at any moment, someone is going to figure it out. And that's what it just felt like for me every day is, never really being able to express who I really was or show up as I really was because I felt like I am a bad person. I'm a deeply horrible, bad person. And if I say or do the wrong thing, someone's going to be like, oh no, Brandy, and that was kind of my story. It gets deeper than that, but really that was, it's something that I've just lived with my whole life and never felt safe to really share with anyone.
Boy, I understand that. And the acronym, of course, for shame is should have already mastered everything. And when I think about shame, I think of all the different shoulds in my life that I should have been good at, or I should have done, or I should have known better, or, all of that. And those shoulds, what I have found is that they close me off from communication with loving energy, whether it's communication with family, my daughter, because I can't hear. All I can hear is the monkey mind that's going on in my brain about how bad I am, or the shoulds that I haven't taken care of because, I have to be perfect. And, shame really for me is about this is when I haven't been perfect, whatever
Yes.
that means. And I realize that I'm perfectly imperfect, and that's what humans are. And I love myself just the way I am. And it's taken me a long time to get there. And walking through and dismantling shame helps anybody to get there, I believe. So I love that word dismantling because that was a word that you shared with me that you wanted to be in the title. And I went, that's really cool because it's like breaking it apart with
Yes.
compassion for who I am and for my experience. So speak to that a little bit more, if you
Yeah,
would.
I love the word dismantling because for me, I guess what I picture is you're just like pulling off the pieces, right? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
have this armor on you, or I mean, for me, I feel like I built up an entire identity, right? And probably a lot of it based on not wanting people to see who I really was. And so it's like you put on the armor of like, oh, I'm this thing, I'm that thing. And I feel like in the last few years, what I've just been doing is pulling off that armor, dismantling it. And a big part of that has been around the shame too, because it doesn't just come off in a day, right? It really is this like consistent practice. It really is this commitment for me of being like, okay, I'm not going to live in shame. Like, I'm going to live in love. Like, I don't want to hate myself. I don't want to say hateful things to myself. I don't want to be someone who's afraid to just show up in the world as I am. So, what do I have to do that? And that really, has been practices around like, okay, let's take one piece off at a time, whatever that happens to look like. And some of that is just being able to hold and notice myself when that perfectionism is coming up, right? When those unrealistic ideas are coming up, and being able to hold myself and give myself some love and some grace around that. Um, because the truth is that building up of shame, that armor, those critical voices, they didn't get there overnight, right? They've been
Yeah.
there for a really long time. And they've been playing a really strong role in my life to get me to be, like you said, to be perfect, to do all the right things, to say everything perfectly. And I 100% align and have that resonance around being perfect. And so if that didn't get there overnight, it's not going to be overnight that I begin to take it apart, right? It's going to be this practice of like, okay, there's that critical voice. And instead of shaming myself for the critical voice, really having some love towards that voice. Like, oh, I see you there. I see that you're afraid. I see that something is scaring you. I see that you're trying to protect me in a certain way. Maybe it's not the best way, but I'm not going to, right? But I'm not going to dismantle through more hate. I'm not going to dismantle through more perfectionism. I'm going to dismantle with this love and with this compassion, right? Just one piece at a time, just moving through that.
And that's part of the healing of self discovery because, we want to be our authentic self. And I know that that's what you really want to support people in their journey. And what I'm finding is that my true, authentic self is flexible because
Yeah.
sometimes there's always room for growth. There's always room for added depth and breadth. And I'm never done. And that's okay because as long as I'm doing the journey and doing the play around this, because I like to think of it as play rather than work, because work is so
Mm.
heavy. So I like to raise the energy. Not that it's fun necessarily, it's play. And play is different than fun for me. So,
Mm.
what is why is this subject so important to you? You shared a little bit about that. Is there any depth you want to go to related to it?
Yeah, one, I want to go back and talk about your play because I love that. So it's funny. I was recently going back to some materials that I had created a couple years ago. And healing is right phases, right? You've got your, different phases, your initial points, and you're in something, and it's that growth, and it's really hard and it's gritty, and then you kind of get through something. And it was funny because I went back and I looked at some materials, and I was definitely in the like work phase of the healing part. And I was
Yeah,
like, and you got to work, and you got to do this, and you got to do it every day, and da 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 da, right? And that's how you heal. And now I go back and I'm like, no. Like we're human. We're living our lives, right? We're not this can't be militant, right? This can't be more hustle culture. Like if we're healing and we're doing this work, I mean, it's because you want to enjoy your life. You want to play, you want to have fun.
yep,
And ultimately, that's kind of like I'm so glad I got out of that work phase, and now I'm in this phase of like, no, let's just have good moments. Let's exist. Let's be in our body. Let's connect. Let's do all those great yummy things. And that is why I'm passionate about this. Is because I think that shame in a lot of cases keeps people from doing just that. It keeps them from being able to really experience themselves and live those yummy, juicy moments that we have every single day if we're just present to them. And so for me, what I've gotten out of, doing this dismantling work and making this commitment around coming back to the love, coming back to the compassion, the open mindedness, being willing to explore, what's coming up for me, why that critical voice is there. What I've gotten out of that is really the ability to be more connected to my authentic self and then just get more life back in my day, right? To be able to, like how I'm here talking to you, genuinely just be in the flow of the conversation and be
yeah,
loving having this moment with you, right? And then later on, be walking my dog and feel the beautiful breeze as it's coming in and the sun coming down on my face and not being caught up in that shame spiral. And I think if more people had access to those moments of just being fully in their body, of existing, of being present, then they would realize they don't have to get to a far off place called healing or healed before they're allowed to really love their lives and
mhm,
get more joy and happiness back into their day. And so that's why I'm passionate about that. Let's get a little bit more less suffering out of your day. Let's get a little more love in your day and really get back to what it is to just be human, and love ourselves.
right. Well, you mentioned in an email that you sent to me about grow and glow.
Yeah.
And And to me, that would be healing in progress, because you wanted to add that also to the title, because
Mm-hmm.
healing never ends as far as I'm concerned. The journey is continuous and it's not scary. I don't see it as a dark tunnel anymore. I
Yeah.
see it as a tunnel that's going this way towards the light and towards the light and towards the light and towards the light. And that to me is healing in progress. So, talk to me a little bit about that, if you would.
I love that you said that. One, I think that's such a great way to give people hope, right? Because when you've gotten to that point where now the healing is kind of playful and you're coming towards the light and you're getting more of that in your life, that's a good sign that you're over some of those big hurdles or boulders in your life, right? Some of those big emotional wounds that have been pulling you into the stuckness and the darkness and that part of yourself that just wants to go inward and hide. And
Mhm.
that right, that possibility is there for everybody. So for anybody that is stuck in that place where you're like, nope, it's dark, I'm in here in the trauma and the wounds and the pain and the hurt, and that's all there is, like, there's absolutely something beyond that, where and when you get on the other side of that, then the healing really is about bringing in just more of that consistency every day of connection, love, and light. I agree 100%. And so speaking to, really I was putting together something specific for this show. And like I said, I went back to some materials. And in the past, it would have been like grow, as in let's do the work, grow, grow, grow. And as I was putting this together, I was like, no, let's put some grow and some glow. Because the reality is, even if you're in that dark place, like even if you're in the hurt of it, right? Where you're just like, oh, every day I don't want to face it anymore. It's too dark. It's too much. Even if you're in that place, you can find some glow in your daily life. It's there. It exists. And it's really about the tools and having access to it. And then, it's just almost like you're like opening the blinds. And at first, you've got the blinds and just a little bit of light is coming in. And then you do that practice the next day, and a little bit more light comes in. And then you do that practice the next day, and a little bit more light comes in. And the next thing you know, it's pretty easy to get back to that place where you're able to connect. And it doesn't mean that the wounds are completely gone and completely healed, right? You're still doing some of that work, but you can still experience some of that glow while you're going through the grow. It doesn't have to be black or white. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And so I'm really, passionate about that now, that instead of just making people go through the grow, 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 it's like, no, let's have some fun right now. Let's have some play right now. Let's get you to a place where you can experience that today in your daily life.
I know one of the things that you had us do was look at ourselves in the mirror and, you know, look at our bodies and see where it's speaking to us. That's
Mm-hmm.
it in simple. One of the things that I've started doing is looking at when I look at myself in the mirror or I see my reflection, is really noticing and saying hello to me and smiling at me. It's so simple, and yet a lot of us, we look in the mirror, we brush our hair, we brush our teeth, whatever, and we don't really say hello to ourselves and to our body.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's part of the glow, and that's part of the acceptance of who I am today.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow's not here yet, and yesterday is gone. It really is about today and about now. So, some of the tools you talked about, tools, what are some of the healing tools that you can share simply with our audience today?
Yeah, I love what you just brought up and looking in the mirror. One of my favorite practices is just to get quiet and lovingly look at myself, like right in the eyes. I really
Yeah.
do think there's something about the eyes, right? Like where they say it's the seat of the soul and you can really feel yourself. There's something
Mhm.
about just like getting in there. It can be really juicy. I feel like I can almost feel like the dopamine kick in when I do
Yeah.
it. But just like getting in there, just looking directly in my eyes and just being really loving towards myself. And that's such a beautiful practice. I really, really love that. One of the things I do want to talk about another practice though that I love. I used to do this practice where I would always basically build my self esteem by looking back at the day and complimenting myself for my accomplishments, right? And so I would be like, oh, that was so great. You did this thing and you accomplished that thing and you did this thing and good job, right? And it was almost like I was creating a scoreboard of like, here's all the things you did correctly. And then I might have another scoreboard that was like, oh, but this is where you could have been better. And this is where you could have improved. And, this is where you were a
Mm.
hot mess. And this is where you reacted and like were snippy, the barista. And I have this scoreboard and on the outset, it kind of looked good, right? Like, okay, I'm looking at ways to improve and I'm, looking at my accomplishments. And then it hit me at one point, especially as I was doing a lot of this deep, deep dismantling around the shame and just, connecting to who I am and being more, making this commitment to love myself more. As I realized I'm giving myself this message every single day that I have to prove my worthiness, right?
Yeah.
That if I do enough things on this side of the scoreboard, and I get enough stars for the day, then I am lovable and I can go to bed and I can feel good about myself. And if I do too many things over here where I was like snippy or rude or God forbid I'm in a bad mood that day, I guess you're going to have to try harder to be lovable tomorrow. And it clicked at one point where I was like, wait a second, that does not match my worldview of I'm innately worthy and every human on this planet is innately worthy. So why am I hustling to be worthy? And why am I telling myself I have to hustle to be worthy? And that's when I started actually like the opposite practice, where at the end of the day, I would look at the things that I was ashamed of and I would say, I see that you were snippy with that person today. And I know that you feel bad about that, but I still love you. And I know that you didn't finish, that thing that you were working on today. And I still love you. And I know that you planned on exercising today and you didn't get to it. And that's okay. I still love you. And as I was doing that, I could literally feel, the little versions of myself that were, waiting for this validation to start to, cry or have relief or just be like, oh my God, I can't believe that you said that. Like, you still love me, even though I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do. And that practice for me is just so powerful. I can feel the shifts in my body. I can feel the movement happen as I do that. And yeah, I just love that one.
Oh, that's really beautiful. And I like doing that too. And I would like to do it more. And I plan to do it more. What I like to do with it is havening because to me, it's like giving
Mm,
myself a hug.
yeah.
As I'm saying, Brenda, this could have been better. And I love you. And I'm
Mm,
showing my body by just doing this or hugging myself as I'm saying it or holding my heart, whatever works, that my body knows that I'm talking to it and that I'm honoring it. And that just because there's a little bit of tension around this, as I'm doing this, my body can go, oh, it's
yeah.
okay. She loves me. And I just love that, Brandy. Thank you so much for that. Heal and move wounds out of the mind body system. That's
Mm.
part of the grow and glow. Tell us more about what that looks like for you and how the audience can use that.
Yeah, definitely. So, a big part of the growth process is starting to release those things that are in our mind body system, right? Whether that's beliefs or that's old memories that are kind of stuck in there. that are holding on to these wounds. And so when you're holding on to a wound, I call that a trigger, right? When someone does something, there's an external event, maybe someone cuts you off or someone says something rude to you, and that wound that's been in your system for so long, maybe even since childhood, gets triggered, and you go, ooh, like you feel it almost like, 0 to 60, you feel that jolt in your body. And a big part of the work that I do is helping people to release that from their mind body system so that they're no longer getting triggered by these external events to the extent that they were, right? There's always going to be things in your system. But if you've got something that you're getting triggered by every single day, I know that's really disrupting the quality of your life, right? You're like, every single day you go into work and your boss triggers you, that's really going to, ruin, wreak havoc on the
Yeah.
quality of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
so, let's get to that wound. Let's grow through that. Let's begin to release that. And one of the ways that you can start doing that really on your own, and that'll be in the resource guide, so you can pull that up for the instructions, is starting to locate it. Really, right? Beginning with identifying, like, ooh, I got triggered. Like, ooh, my boss didn't smile at me, and I was like, oh, they're mad at me. I'm gonna get fired. And then taking that moment of like being open-minded and curious and exploring that, like, ooh, where did that come from? And getting quiet with it. And you might notice that it's in your body somewhere. You might notice that it's, you're feeling like a tenderness in your chest. And you might notice that if you get quiet and you feel that tenderness in your chest, it comes with a memory. And that means you begin to feel that memory. You can feel the pain, and allow yourself to then be the observer, like the kind, compassionate observer that's able to be with that part of yourself that's feeling the pain, feeling the memory. Maybe you're remembering that time that your mom wasn't smiling at you and you thought, like, oh, she's mad at me. What did I do? It's because I didn't clean my room. I'm never good enough, right? And you just go back to that little part of yourself and you begin to allow that sensation to release, just being with the body and lovingly observe it. And I really believe, and this isn't just me, this is a blend of some parts work, some somatic work, and some also, I think, some highly intuitive work, right? That we just
Mm-hmm.
know what to do when we allow ourselves to get connected to that part that is loving and kind and wants to be there with us. But as you're doing that, you'll notice what it is that your body is needing, what that part of you is calling for. That you'll be able to be with that memory and to feel it. And that loving part will naturally want to embrace you, will feel some compassion for you, will feel some softness for you, and you won't feel alone in it. And as you're able to be held by that energy, you can heal anything, right? I think that really is the part that makes us our own healers, is that by being with ourselves in that compassionate way, we intuitively know how to move through a lot of those painful memories and those beliefs that are just no longer serving us.
Thank
Does
you for
something come
bringing
up for
us
you as
through
I'm listening now?
a little bit of a healing process. Is there something you would like to do for a little bit longer with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I can actually walk you through a little demo if you want.
We've got 5 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So, how about if you take a moment and notice if there's anything in your mind body system that is calling for a little bit of attention? Maybe there's some fear or some sadness, or even just a little small part of you just needing some love. And see if you could notice that within yourself. Is anything calling to you? Do you notice anything, Brenda?
I notice anxiety,
Yeah,
which a lot of times is based in not good enough, which
yeah,
can come to shame or lead to shame, but
yeah,
it's more than not good enough.
totally. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to take a moment to suspend your adult mind, right? The adult mind that is putting on some labels and things, right? Because you've done a lot of this work, and so you kind of know what
Mhm,
your things are. I want you to go
mhm.
ahead and suspend that, suspend the knowing, and just take a moment to find what you're describing as anxiety and just source that. Notice if you're feeling it in your body somewhere. It might be like a tinge, right? Or a tingling, or a sharpness, or a pain. And just see if you can find in your body where that source of anxiety is coming from. Do you notice that?
In my throat,
In your
it's like a
throat.
sore throat. And
Yeah.
dear audience, notice this for you too, because there isn't any one right way to do it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Brandy.
Yeah, so it usually starts somatically, and sometimes people don't find it somatically. Sometimes people find it in the mind, right? They find the story coming up. They'll find the
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm going to say the wrong thing, right? They might hear the words repeating or looping. And
Hmm.
some of us are better at finding it somatically. And sometimes when we find it somatically, we don't find the words. So we just go with whatever entry point is there for us. And so we go towards that. And then I want you to feel into what's going on there in the throat. I want you to notice if maybe it has like a color or what that sensation is. Maybe it's a tightness or an itchiness.
It's a rough burning.
Yeah, it's a rough burning. And I want you to just notice as you feel into that burning, if there's any sort of memory, and you don't have to share it, it can stay personal, but just notice if there's something coming up for you, like when have I felt that burning in the past? You can ask your body that question, like, when have I felt this burning in the past? And just notice if it tells you something, if it shares another time that it felt that kind of burning.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then as you're feeling that burning and you're feeling that, that time that you felt it in the past, good. I love that. See how the body just kind of knew it needed to move through it, right? And that'll
Mhm.
happen sometimes. There'll be gurgling, sometimes burping, things where the body just needs to move through it. And then feeling into that. And then for the sake of, not delving too deep in your personal, we're just going to go ahead and do some clearing phrases or some loving healing phrases to this part of the body. And I want you to stay in that sensation and to stay in that memory as if you can go back to that while imagining that a part of you is this loving, compassionate parent. So almost imagining that you've got these two parts of yourself, right? This burning in the throat and this loving, compassionate parent that is staying with you. And so you're not alone in it. You're not feeling it alone. And you can allow yourself to experience that sensation and to be in it and to hold it. And you're completely safe with it. And then we're going to say some compassionate words to it. And you'll just you'll just repeat after me. We'll do a call and response. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
I love you.
I love you.
I am you.
I am you.
You are me.
You are me.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
Just allow your body to move through that sensation any way it wants to. If it wants to shake or wiggle or lighten. And give yourself a little love for doing that work. That's beautiful.
Thank you for that. Dear audience, notice how you're feeling. I mean, I'm close to tears, and that's okay. As Brandy knows, I move to tears fairly easily because that's how my body manifests when I'm in deep emotion, when I'm caring about certain things or certain people or certain situations. Tears come. Sometimes they're happy tears. I I work really hard not to put a judgment on the tears. They're not good or bad. They're just tears. Just like our emotions aren't good or bad, they're gifts from the divine for us to express ourselves. It's how we choose to express ourselves that can get us into trouble with other people or with ourselves sometimes. Right? So, Brandy can be reached at her email, which her website, which we'll put up on the screen for you to take a picture of or to write down. And you can find all of the Grow and Glow on her website. Tell a little bit about the rebirth button and what that's about. We have about 3 or 4 minutes. Go for it.
The rebirth button?
Yeah.
It's the rebirth button.
Well, didn't you say something about when you go to your website, you can get the Grow and Glow, and then you have to hit a rebirth us or did I write it down wrong?
Oh, I don't. It's on the free resources page.
Oh, okay. I heard you wrong. Never mind. I mean,
I don't know what that
this is all
is.
about, it really is all about rebirthing in some ways because it's re-looking at or looking at a new way of being and looking at a new way of seeing myself and experiencing myself. So in a way, it's sort of a rebirth.
Sure, we made something new today.
I mean, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Is there any one thing or anything you'd like to share as a final for the audience?
Honestly, as a final for the audience, these steps are really baby steps. We're not going to get there in a day, but having that commitment, just making a commitment, an intention that I'm going to be more loving towards myself, right? I'm no longer going to practice self-hate, and I'm going to move towards myself with love and compassion. And you will naturally, intuitively find the tools and practices that support that commitment. So I think that's really where it's at, is just saying, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to really make that commitment this year to move towards myself with love and compassion, open-mindedness, and kindness.
That's really beautiful. And if you want to connect with me, my link tree is running across the screen. Feel free to look at that and all the different things that I have available. I know that there's deeper connection with our body, and that's part of our self-discovery, is how can I have even deeper connection with my body, with depth and breadth and releasing. Because part of what I encourage people to do is do the heart breathing and breathe in the light and love and breathe out to the light anything that they want to release, because they don't want to release it into their own space. They want to release it into the divine or into the light of love. And as we move through shame, dismantle the shoulds with the compassionate process. compassionate love for ourselves, it is a healing in progress, because that's what life is, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you told us why it's important to you. How does this connect to your coaching that you do? You have a couple of minutes you can share with us about your coaching.
Yeah, so the way that this connects to my coaching is I really try to marry, the deep work of what we do in the sessions, which is getting on the other side of triggers. So releasing deep wounds, healing deep wounds. And I try to marry that deep, deep work, which is honestly challenging, right? You're going into some of the deepest hurts that you've experienced, that you've had for a while, with practical everyday tools that you can do while you're out of session. And so that really is the part that I think is essential, is you can come in and you can do the deep work, but the reality is you'll always have more to uncover. There'll always be more suffering if you're focused on the suffering, right? We
Yep.
can we can work together for 100 years and we can find more suffering and more wounds and
Yep.
more,
Yep.
negative beliefs, self-beliefs, and keep unearthing those. But really the everyday practical tools of starting to get more glimmer and glow in your life, right? Savoring your life, recognizing when you're at a point of connection and enjoying that, experiencing it, living it is really what's important. And so that's what I try to help with my coaching clients with as well, is let's bring those two things together. Let's make sure that your everyday life is getting better, that you're, getting more connection, by being able to connect with your body, starting those
Mhm.
very, very simple tools of just noticing your bodily cues, noticing when your body wants to get up, when it wants to stretch, when it's needing a break, starting to notice those things so that you can then notice when you're experiencing something that's joyful, right? Like, oh, I'm having this amazing conversation with this person. Oh, this feels good in my body. Yeah, this lights me up. And I don't know if you've had that experience before where you're like, the best part of your day was checking out at the grocery store and you just connected with that person that was ringing you up and you're just like, oh my God, we had like the best conversation and you felt
Yeah.
all glowy and warm and you were laughing and it was poppy, right? Like getting more of that in your daily life, which really starts at being able to be connected to yourself, connected to your body, noticing those cues, noticing when it likes something, noticing when it doesn't like something, leaning into the good stuff, doing a little bit less of the stuff that doesn't feel so good. And that is really where you're going to get more of that deeper connection in your life. So, you can come to me all day and focus on those deeper stuff. You don't have to do that alone. We can do that together, but ultimately making that commitment in your daily life of, I'm going to be more present. I'm going to be more in my body. I'm going to notice when things feel good and I'm going to lean into those. You're going to get just so much more joy in your life.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Brandy. That's so true. And I experienced that. I know that you have information on your website about upcoming classes, about coaching, about free gifts. So please check out her website at love more, no, healmorelovemore.com. So we want to heal more, we want to love more.com. So thank you so much for being with us today. Blessings, Brandy. Stick around if you want to visit once we go off. Bye. So, to some music. What a wonderful gift Brandy was to bring out the how shame can assist us to become more authentic. and to move into passion when we recognize it and honor it. So let's do our closing breathing. Don't forget, the show is on Thursday afternoons, 4 p.m. Pacific time. We would love for you to be a regular visitor. So as we do our closing heart breathing, breathe in through your heart, into your lungs, down into the core. Just slowly, you're breathing in light and love of the divine, whatever that is for you. And you're breathing out anything that you're ready to release, whether about anything that we talked about or anything that you felt, and you're noticing what's going on in your body at this time. So notice where your body may be holding shame or any other emotion that we spoke of today. Breathe in light and love slowly, and breathe out whatever you're ready to release at this time. Just do that a few times, and do that practice throughout the week. And you can pick up some of the practices that Brandy shared with too, because they're easy to do. Smile at yourself and love yourself. This has been a joy and a pleasure. Peace to all of you. Blessings. Keep doing your heart breathing. Bye for now.